Or dog fat, and nothing could be further from the truth.
And so if there's excess energy stores in the body and we're not controlling the metabolic growth of the cancer, it's just going to feed the flames and the fire and all of those things that are a result of calorie excess and inflammation mediated by fat and obesity is going to be accelerated. So it's contradictory.
I have a client come in with a cancer diagnosis, and the first thing they say is, I don't want them to get too skinny because then they won't be able to handle the cancer later. So I'm going to make my, dog or cat really fat right now. It's just not a good idea. The health risks associated with having an overweight pet put stress on the circulatory system, on mobility, on so many other systems in the body that are not going to help fight that cancer.
Fattening a dog up increases white fat, which increases inflammation, which is a bad thing.
What we want is a vibrant, super healthy animal. And that means not an overweight animal for them to best fight the cancer.
What we're seeing and what some of the literature, actually a lot of literature has shown, is that things like calorie restriction, going on a ketogenic diet where we're able to alter metabolism, that slows down cancer and preserves muscle mass, which is the key.
In my geriatric and cancer patients, moving, exercise gets every patient feeling better, gets everyone increased quality of life.
For me, the hardest part here is, we don't always win the battle, but actually some of the dogs have went for things other than the cancer.
Oh, I think the reason why cancer rates are skyrocketing is it's multifactorial. But, I know that 80 to 90% of cancers are from the lifestyle that we lead. And I don't mean to, I don't want to communicate to people that they brought this on themselves, because so much of it is in the environment.
For an MD, they're taught, for me to do something to change standard of care, I need a phase 3 double-blind placebo-controlled trial to point to do that, right? So you can't do that with a dietary therapy. There's no way, there's no funding to pull it through, and they're very difficult to get through anyway. To get it through that sort of protocol, to where an MD will say, okay, the burden of proof is high enough that I'm going to prescribe this. But the regulation pendulum has swung so far that way that it's swinging back.
I demonize sugar. I think it's one of the worst things that could have happened to humankind over the last couple of centuries. Yes, there was cancer and diabetes before that, but not at the rates that we're seeing it now.
And the original pioneers of chemotherapy, the guys, Vincent DeVita, Emil Freireich, those guys are saying, we don't need phase 3 data. Phase 2 data with, a patient group of 50 people, you can show efficacy. That's plenty for somebody that's dying, and especially if it does no harm. I mean, the ketogenic diet has been proven over and over, or any dietary therapy. These therapies have been proven over and over. They're safe, right? So the equation of risk-reward is hugely in the favor of trying these therapies.
So, the food additives, the quality of the food, but mostly it is the macronutrients that we're eating. This is not normal for us to be taking in. More than half of our diet is in the form of carbohydrates.
The ketogenic diet is not a fad diet. In fact, I don't like the word ketogenic diet, because diet implies that it is a specific set of things that you would eat to achieve one result, and that isn't true. In fact, it's a ketogenic lifestyle. This lifestyle discipline just gives your body a break from excessive calories and excessive protein and carbohydrates. So you're allowing your metabolism to have a well-deserved break, and out of that break comes a really profound metabolic shift. You're not hungry and you're not fasting, you're just eating differently.
So about 16 months ago, I noticed a cough with Parker. It was discovered he had a lesion in his lung, which was pulmonary carcinoma. The news was devastating, because at that point we were given approximately 2 to 3 months left with Parker. I thought, Parker's going to die, and what have I done wrong? We began a process of feeding him a diet called ketogenic.
Good morning, Rodney. This is Parker coming to you live from sunny Southern California. Welcome to our kitchen. Hey, do you want to teach him about how we make your food? I think that would be fun.
And I thought to myself, what? We're going to feed him raw beef? We're going to feed him Brussels sprouts and cream cheese? And I was frightened by it, mostly because it was a change and it was so unheard of. It was almost within a month, this diet was taking hold and helping to restore not only a balanced health, but energy and muscle mass and just everything that we wanted and expected out of our dog. Upon our first visit back to the vet after post-op, they could not believe the way Parker looked, his energy, and how he was thriving. But then the second month came, and we did a blood lipid profile, and we did a complete physical, and we were 2 months post-op. My vet looked at me and said, whatever you're doing, keep it going. Then the third month happened, and we did a thoracic scan to see if the cancer had metastasized, and there was no evidence in his lymph nodes, in any other region of his lung or other parts of his thoracic region, cancer-free. Then 6 months passed, and the cutest thing of all was just recently, upon our visit last week, which would be about our 16-month post-op, my veterinarian had 2 students with him who were just graduating from veterinarian school. And when Parker walked in, he said, meet my ketogenic dog. This dog, you've got to talk to the owner about the diet and everything that they have done for this dog post-op after having cancer. And it was just the moment that I really know my veterinarian believed in this and this was working. Everybody thought I was crazy, and it was an extreme measure, and it was kind of this hyped up fad that what are you doing? Raw meat, Brussels sprouts. Again, it was just a whole diet rerun. Everybody was scared and afraid of starving him. It was rough going in the first 2 or 3 months. I really felt like I was on an island alone, but because I believed and I took the lead and I measured and cut and pricked his paw to get the blood readings, everybody certainly jumped on board and became a believer. And so the calorie reduction was an exercise of discipline, but it was an exercise of doing something that was best for my dog. At first, it was hard to see him a bit hungry. It was difficult because you want to please, and oftentimes food is a soother of emotion. But generally, that's just for me. It had nothing to do with Parker. And once I could wrap my head around what I'm doing for you, mister, is I'm feeding you well, and I'm feeding you appropriate portions for what you need to live a long life. The dog food industry really caters to humans. You see a package that's designed with pot stew or beef stew or vegetable stew, and we look at that and think, oh, that looks good. And it's marketing. And if you flip that label over and you start reading the ingredients and you see all the fillers that are in the food, really has no purpose of nutrition for your dogs. And little did I know, the fact of what I was feeding him probably was the part that was harming him. Most of us, what I think, we feed our dogs the way we feed ourselves. And most of us would admit, you know, I probably am not eating as healthy as I need to or should or could. And most of the food that we see as humans, way too much sugar. And surprisingly, when you look at the amount of sugar in dog food, dogs do not need sugar. Why not? Why not take a look at the culprit, sugar? And the many different forms that it comes to us, whether it's in fruit or too much vegetables or in raw sugar itself or in the fillers that make food taste better. Why not go that extra step and be uncomfortable so that you can learn and grow and live a healthier life? I feel a little foolish. What was I doing for the first 8 years? But moving forward, I'm now a walking billboard for this with every friend and every pet and every dog I see. We're going to beat this. We're going to do this. And we are going to beat this with diet. We're going to do this by giving him the proper medical care. And we're going to reverse this for no other reason other than learning, if not for just learning, but also extending his life.
So there's really 2 long-term objectives. One is to obviously take care of the remaining inventory of dogs and really see them through, right? The long-term goal is to ensure not only that these dogs survive, but that they truly thrive. right? And we're invested in that. Obviously, we want to be able to take on new dogs so that we can help more dogs.
You know, a good chunk of these dogs were in a shelter and were going to be euthanized because they had cancer. You know, at least there's somebody in this world, you know, that wanted to try to give them a chance.
And the place that we're at now is we're looking to expand. We're looking to grow. We're looking for partnership, right? And we've got, you know, a couple of lines in the water, so to speak, in that regard. But the future really does look bright for Keto Pet. So the very first thing